Hello everyone and welcome to Midlife Crisis, the show where I talk about every major DC crossover event in chronological order. This week we are continuing our look at Countdown to Final Crisis with Part 3, issues 25 through 13. If you haven't seen the first two parts of this series, I highly recommend going back and watching them because a lot has happened, and so you should catch yourself up on everything before you continue with this video. So without further ado, let's just get straight into it. We continue where we left off in Bloodhaven, where Karate Kid, alongside his friend Una and Buddy Blank and Buddy Blank's grandson, they've all headed to Bloodhaven in order to find a bunker that is supposedly there that may have a cure within it for a disease that Karate Kid has. The disease is related to the OMAC virus, which was a disease that turns people into robotic humans. But it's a different kind of variant that even OMAC couldn't cure. Along the way, they met with Firestorm, who decided to help them try and locate the bunker. They found a spot that they believed it was, and he blasted a hole open into the ground, and that's when they find the bunker there. And Firestorm decides to reveal his true intentions. He was never actually planning on helping them find the bunker. He didn't think it existed. So his plan was to wait for them to find out that it's not real, and then hand them into the authorities for coming into a closed off zone like Bloodhaven. But those plans aren't going correctly anymore because it turns out the bunker is real. To make matters worse, a group called the Atomic Knights then show up because they have jurisdiction over the Bloodhaven area, and because they've broken into this area, they need to get them out. But for obvious reasons, Karate Kid doesn't want to leave, and so the Atomic Knights give Firestorm an ultimatum, which is either get out of Bloodhaven or we will force you out. Meanwhile, Trickster and Pied Piper have been looking into a conspiracy where supervillains have been disappearing. If you want to see that in much greater detail, where these villains have been going, you can check out my video all about it, Salvation Run. Because they've gotten involved, the Suicide Squad have sent Deadshot after them to take them down. He crashes their car by shooting missiles at it. He gets tripped over by Trickster and Pied Piper's handcuffs, because they've got that wire in between their handcuffs that electrocutes them if they get too far apart from each other. But this doesn't really matter to Deadshot because he's got wrist-mounted guns, so he's able to just shoot at them. So Piper and Trickster run off into the forest as Deadshot shoots at them, and we get to see more of Trickster's lovely personality where he complains about the fact that he's afraid that people are going to think he's gay because he's hanging around Pied Piper, because Piper is gay. You know, he's just being homophobic as he usually is. He's the human embodiment of, I'm not gay. Meanwhile, Jimmy Olsen has been getting visions of the Source Wall for unknown reasons, or reasons unknown to him right now, that have brought him to Apocalypse. So he is currently on Apocalypse because he was brought there by a character called the Forager, but she's gone missing, and now he's stuck on Apocalypse as a slave. He's also been dealing with the fact that he's been getting random superpowers at different times, and at this very moment, as he's being attacked by one of the slave traders, I guess you could call him, an Omega Beam hits the guy and kills him. And Jimmy wonders if he did that or not. Like if it was one of his random powers. It probably wasn't though, it was probably Darkseid. And speaking of Darkseid, he's watching this as it happens. It confirms that he was the one who in fact killed that guard, and Eclipso has been sculpting Mary Marvel into her evil apprentice, and now she is handing Mary Marvel over to Darkseid to become a tool in Darkseid's upcoming war. So he welcomes her with open arms. "Come to me, child. No true darkness." Firestorm and Karate Kid fight the Atomic Knights in battle because they don't want to leave Bloodhaven, but Karate Kid is sick, so one of the Atomic Knights overpowers him. However, he is saved by Una. The Atomic Knights begin to surround Karate Kid, but they all pass out because Firestorm changed their oxygen supply into ether briefly enough so that they would all pass out. Firestorm doesn't want to turn them in yet because he's also looking for something that is apparently in this bunker, but he refuses to tell them what it is. So he wants to go into the bunker, find the thing that he's looking for, and then turn them in afterward. They soon come across a giant metal door, and Firestorm states that he can break through it, but they gotta be careful because there might be something bad on the other side. He uses his powers to blast open the door, and that's when we find Martin Stein, who is one of the personalities within Firestorm, being tortured by Darkseid with some kind of machine. So this is what Firestorm has been looking for. He's been looking for Martin Stein this whole time. Firestorm tries to attack Darkseid, but everybody is trapped in a energy cage that Darkseid creates from out of nowhere. Firestorm then continues trying to break open the cage, but that's exactly what Darkseid wants because it's siphoning Firestorm's powers from him. Firestorm's powers begin to overload and a massive explosion happens, and when the explosion clears, it is revealed that Darkseid has fused himself with Firestorm and taken over his body. On Earth 15, Zod, who is the Superman of this Earth, is awaiting his brand new baby from his wife Lana, who is pregnant, when suddenly someone breaks into the Fortress of Solitude. It is a black-suited Superman, and this is Superboy Prime, or at this point in time he's known as Superman Prime. Normally, he is that of a teenage boy, but now he is an adult because at the end of Sinestro Corps War, he blew up in an explosion caused by one of the Guardians and fused with the Guardian's DNA off-panel, transforming him into an adult man. That's how it's explained. He has kidnapped the Lex Luthor of this Earth, who is a nice guy, and he hates this Earth because of how nice it is. He sees it as boring because it's so harmonious, there's no criminals or anything, because everything was fixed by the Justice League. He throws a piece of the Fortress of Solitude at Zod, killing him, and then he blasts Lana with his heat vision, killing her, and carries Lex Luthor off because Lex Luthor is annoying him and he wants to finish him off once and for all. Because he's nothing like the Lex Luthor that he knows, who is actually evil and interesting to him. Karate Kid and Una fight against a Darkseid-possessed Firestorm, and Darkseid is watching this happen, and he says that he doesn't need Darkseid's help because Darkseid has a fetish for torturing people, and what Darkseid needs is a sorcerer, and that's why he wants to recruit Mary Marvel. But Mary refuses to work for Darkseid and is like, is it magic you want? Then take this! And starts shooting him with all sorts of magic while Eclipso is like, no, don't! Meanwhile, Kyle Rayner and Donna Troy are having a conversation about the fact that they have to work with Jason Todd because Kyle just doesn't trust him. A lot of recent bad things have happened in Kyle's life as well, like his mother dying and him losing the ion powers, and so he's very upset about that, but he refuses to open up to Donna about it. Back on Earth 15, the Justice League realize that the Fortress of Solitude has been destroyed by something, and that's when we see Superman Prime flying into space with Lex Luthor, and Lex just disintegrates to nothing due to the Force. Superman Prime blasts straight through the Watchtower, destroying it and killing everyone inside except for Martian Manhunter, who he kills by breaking his neck. It's just a whole bunch of edgy carnage going on that isn't interesting at all. It's really funny how Superman Prime hates this Earth because of how bland and uninteresting it is, and yet he is also bland and uninteresting and is just super edgy and just killing people, and there's nothing to it. It's just bad. He wants to go home, but before he goes home to his own Earth, he wants to make an example of this one. The Atomic Knights show up to fight Darkseid, and the fight ends very anticlimactically when one of them just throws a metal sphere at Darkseid, and it just separates him from Firestorm somehow. So Darkseid heads back to Apocalypse, and when he arrives, he appears in between Darkseid and Mary Marvel's fight, and allows Mary Marvel to escape by accident. So Eclipso agrees to go after Mary Marvel and retrieve her. Superman Prime destroys Atlantis with his heat vision, and then he gets attacked by a couple of torpedoes, which are shot by the Batwing, and that's because Batman and Wonder Woman have showed up, and on this Earth, they are Jason Todd and Donna Troy. Superman Prime breaks into the invisible jet and kills Donna, and then throws her through the Batwing, and this really upsets Jason, because Donna is a dear friend of his. So he puts on his jetpack, he flies towards Superman Prime just smacks him away. Jason's like, "You son of a bunk!" Superman Prime says a whole bunch of cringy dialogue. "This universe had a Justice League and some Green Lanterns. I could have stomached the differences, I guess, but the Superman and Luthor was so lame." He grabs Jason by the throat and flies into space with him. "Once again, a Luthor ruins everything. You're a sick and twisted lunatic." "Why do they always say that?" "You're a jerk. This world will hate you. Always." And Superman Prime flies back into Earth, holding Jason by the neck, and he flies so fast that Jason burns up into nothing. "This world will hate me, eh? They won't understand, 'cause no one understands me." What you don't see is that off-panel, Superman Prime turns on his iPod and he puts on "Welcome to My Life" by Simple Plan. Because life's so hard, and no one understands. None of them ever do. He then sees a plane, and he thinks, "I'm not a plane!" And he smashes straight through it, and then he smashes into the street below, and flies through the Earth, straight to the core, where he smashes into it, and causes the entire planet to explode. After destroying Earth 15, Superman Prime heads off in search of his Earth, his home, and that if he has to rip apart the multiverse to find it, he will. Superboy Prime travels to the Source Wall. The Source Wall is breaking apart. It is what keeps all the planets separate, all the Earths. So once it crumbles down, the Earths will be let loose, and then it will be almost impossible for him to find his Earth amongst the rest. He also wants to destroy what he considers to be all the bad Earths as well, so it'll be harder for him to find those if the Source Wall breaks down as well. In order to find those Earths, he has kidnapped Mr. Mxyzptlk, or Mxyzptlk is how you pronounce it, and is torturing him in hopes of getting his help to find all the Earths that he wants to destroy. At the same time, he's also kidnapped a version of Zatanna called Anataz from Earth 3, because he believes that her magic will help him torture Mr. Mxyzptlk. Not much really happens in this. He just tells Mr. Mxyzptlk who he is and tries to get him to help him, and Mr. Mxyzptlk just refuses to help him and plays around with him and trolls him the entire time. And Superman Prime just gets more and more angry as the issue goes on, until he gets to the point where he's like, "Alright, Anataz, I want you to stab his heart out." And she stabs him in the heart with a piece of the Source Wall, and that still doesn't kill Mr. Mxyzptlk. And so at this point, he's given up. Eclipso has a conversation with Mary about what happened with Darkseid, Mary doesn't want to join with Darkseid. She was like, oh, you lied to me about how similar we were. You were just using me to hand me over to Darkseid. And Eclipso manages to convince Mary to trust her again by saying, like, oh, everybody's been saying that you're evil, so shouldn't you prove them right and be evil? Like, that's basically what she says, and Mary Marvel falls for it. She makes the most stupid decision ever, where instead of trying to change people's mind about her being evil, she decides to instead continue doing evil things for Eclipso. It's really dumb. Lord Havoc and Ultraman, who are working for Monarch, who is trying to start a multiversal war, are currently in battle with the Dominators. They're going around the universe, destroying people, and Ultraman questions what Lord Havoc is doing, and Lord Havoc is like, look, some of us aren't just working for Monarch for his benefit. Some of us are doing it for our own benefits. It's not about him anymore. It's about me taking over the universe once Monarch's suspicion is lulled. I will turn against him eventually. But for now, I'm his second in command, and so I will do his bidding. So that he trusts me. Superman Prime throws a tantrum and says that he doesn't need Mr. Mxyzptlk or Anataz, and so he is just going to destroy the part of the source wall that they're in and kill both of them. So Anataz grabs a top hat, puts some magic on it to send Mr. Mxyzptlk back to the 5th dimension, and she sacrifices herself so that he can get away. So Superman Prime brings down the entire source wall, and Anataz dies within it. It's a moment for her to reconcile for all the bad things that she's done, because on Earth 3 she would torture children, things like that. She was pretty nasty. So at this point she's asking for forgiveness for all the sins that she's committed. And as he travels through the 5th dimension, Mr. Mxyzptlk mourns Anataz, saying that it's sad that she had to give up her life for him to escape, and that although he has the ability to go back and turn Superman Prime inside out, sometimes the answer is to run. Like, sometimes even the trickster god comes out a loser, and the only trick he has left is a fast exit. Mary Marvel wakes up in the middle of space because it turns out she was caught in one of the explosions caused by Lord Havoc. She was saved by Eclipso, and Eclipso and her have another conversation about Darkseid. Eclipso stating that she didn't take her to Darkseid to become Darkseid's plaything. She took her to Darkseid so that she could pretend to work for Darkseid, and then when his guard was down, they would take down Darkseid, and Mary would take over Apokolips. But Mary doesn't fall for this. Finally, she's smarter than that. She grabs the Eclipso diamond and uses it against Eclipso, knocking her out or killing her, I'm not sure. Doesn't matter. Mary Marvel has the black diamond in her possession, which makes you wonder, is she gonna make the right decision and get rid of it and go down a good path again? Or is she gonna start using the black diamond to meet her own needs and continue going down a dark path? Chances are it's option B. Jimmy Olsen is still a slave on Apokolips, and while he's doing his duties, he comes across a cloaked figure who turns out to be Mr. Miracle. Mr. Miracle is on Apokolips because he's searching for Barda, because something is killing New Gods, and one of the New Gods that was killed was his wife Barda. But for some reason, the New Gods who are being killed, their souls aren't going to the source like they should be. He can't find Barda's source, and therefore he can't find Barda, and that's really upsetting for him. Jimmy is also investigating the death of the New Gods, and so he and Mr. Miracle decide to team up. Mr. Miracle grabs Jimmy. He says, "Hey Jimmy, do you trust me?" And Jimmy's like, "Yeah, of course I trust you, I guess." Mr. Miracle's like, "Yeah, because you're gonna have to." And he throws Jimmy he just throws him. We don't know why, he just throws him. It looks like he's throwing Jimmy into some kind of fiery portal. Mr. Mixer's Pitlick finds himself at home with his girlfriend, finally makes it back home, and he begs her to close the fifth dimensional door because otherwise he will get in and he doesn't want to deal with him anymore. And the him that he is referring to is Superman Prime because he's been tortured by him for the last day or so. I don't know how much time has been passing. He's a real mess because of it. Meanwhile, Pied Piper and Trickster are on a train on the run from Deadshot, and they're starting to finally get along more, and Trickster even calls Piper Hartley, which is the first time he's ever referred to him by his real name. As much as I don't like how Trickster is written in this, with all the homophobia going around, he makes a joke. He says, which is a shame really, because right in the rails like some kind of 1930s tramp, I'm pretty sure I could have come up with a knee slapper about how you've turned me hobosexual. But at least he's showing some kind of growth. It's a bit of a wholesome moment when he says Hartley's name. The wholesome moment is interrupted by Deadshot, who hitched a ride on top of the train. He begins trying to shoot Piper and Trickster, so they fight back against him. They use some acid, which they shoot at Deadshot's mask, melting it, so he has to pull it off. And then they run at Deadshot and catch him in the neck with their electric handcuffs, electrocuting Deadshot and pushing him out the door of the train. But Deadshot grabs onto Trickster's cape and pulls him out with him. Deadshot grabs Trickster's head and presses his head into the ground outside while the train is going and grinds Trickster's head on the ground. It's messed up. He just starts grinding his head. To Piper's horror, Deadshot then lets go of Trickster and shoots at Piper, which hits Trickster in the chest and in the head. Piper pulls Trickster back into the train and is like, oh, like, you're in bad condition, but, like, you should be fine, right? Like, scars look great on a hero, don't they? Like, the scars are gonna look wicked. And that's when he realizes that Trickster is dead. Before I talk about the next issue, I just want to point out how weird the cover for it is. I had to suffer looking at it, so you have to suffer as well. Look at this thing. This is awful. It's so weird. Darkseid just caressing up against Granny Goodness's leg like a dog. Piper desperately electrocutes Trickster with their electric handcuffs in an attempt to try and bring him back to life, but to no avail, and that's when Trickster's wristwatch, which is a bomb, sets off because it has read him as being dead, so the bomb is going to explode in 24 hours. So now Piper is stuck not only with a dead Trickster, but also a bomb that's going to blow up and kill him eventually. And according to Darkseid, this is all a part of Darkseid's plan. For some reason. Why? Why is this a part of his plan? Why does he care so much about the Trickster and Pied Piper? I think it's not a part of his plan. I think Darkseid is one of those guys who doesn't even really have a plan. Things just happen, and then he says that it's part of his plan. It's like, no, that was supposed to happen. Definitely supposed to happen. Holly Robinson and Harley Quinn are currently on the outskirts of Themyscira training to become Amazons, or Amazonians. And during their training, they come across a mysterious cave, and so they decide to explore it. And we as the reader see that somebody is inside the cave, but we don't know who it is yet. Meanwhile, on Earth 12, which is the Batman Beyond Earth, Kyle, Donna, Jason, and Bob are watching Terry McGinnis deal with crime, because he's the Batman of Earth 12, and that's when another monitor shows up. Apparently, the monitors have all started giving themselves names, like Bob has. They are all being led by someone named Solomon. It's assumed that this Solomon is a monitor, but they don't definitively say that they are a monitor. They just say that that Solomon is the one telling them what to do, and that he monitors Earth 8. So it's assumed he's a monitor, but we don't know for sure yet. This monitor has come to recruit Bob to their cause, but Bob refuses because they're trying to save the multiverse and they don't believe that the monitors have the right idea to do it. Jason tries to join the argument, but the other monitor just knocks him out with his powers. And then the two monitors fight each other because Bob is trying to stop this monitor from killing his new friends. And while they're fighting, Kyle and Donna start fighting this monitor alongside Bob, despite Bob's best wishes. Bob's like, no, don't fight with me, get out of here. And Kyle and Donna are like, no, we're fighting alongside you because we're trying to save the multiverse just like you. Bob manages to overpower the other monitor and they make a quick getaway and end up in the bleed, which is outside of time. While they are in the bleed, the monitor explains that the other monitors now know their exact locations no matter which Earth they go to, which is going to make their job a lot harder. But then he confirms to them that the monitor also gave away Ray Palmer's location, apparently. Bob now knows exactly where Ray Palmer is. After Darkseid was separated from Firestorm, Jason had to transform into Firestorm again. So he transforms into Firestorm. The Atomic Knights show up to deal with them again, but he fights back against them and knocks them all out. And that's when Karate Kid finds a secret passageway, and when he enters it, he finds what looks like a container or something with a little code on it. He puts the code in, and Omak recognizes that Karate Kid is now in place, because apparently Omak sent him to this bunker on purpose as a part of his plan. And so now that Karate Kid is in place, Omak activates a whole bunch of Omak soldiers and sends them off to do something. We don't know what they're going to do, but they're going to do something. The mountain that Omak is being held within breaks apart, and he floats out as this giant satellite ball of metal and claims that his plan is now full swing. ETA, 52 minutes. Omak's a lethal force enabled. I am the shepherd. I am the way. So he's going to send all the Omaks to go and kill people, I guess. And cause havoc, just like they did during Infinite Crisis. Without anybody knowing, not the Justice League or the JSA or anyone, Omak puts his plan into action. His plan is to take over Bloodhaven and become it. So while Karate Kid and Una are trying to break open this containment box under Bloodhaven because they believe that the cure for Karate Kid is in there, Omak is sending his Omak soldiers to Bloodhaven, and they are rebuilding it into a giant dome-like building around him. I am Bloodhaven. I am home. Bob the Monitor mentioned earlier that the other Monitor confirmed where Ray is. He gave it away without realizing it. He confirms that Ray Palmer must be on the same Earth that Monitor was monitoring, because he said that Ray Palmer is living a life of no consequence, and he wouldn't know that unless Ray was on the Earth that he was on. Which means there's a good chance that the other monitors knew where Ray Palmer was the entire time. Or at least one of them did. Jimmy Olsen emerges from the fire pit that Mr. Miracle threw him in. The reason he threw him into the fire pit was because it activated Jimmy Olsen's new powers, which are turtle skin, I guess. It just feels a little bit pointless. Maybe it's to protect him if he comes across any enemies. Jimmy makes his way through a part of Apocalypse, some kind of tunnel, and he breaks through a grate, and when he climbs out of it, he finds Forager tied up. He pulls off her mask and thinks about how beautiful she is, but then he's like, oh, Jimmy, snap out of it. She's a human-looking bug. And that's when Forager wakes up and grabs him by the neck because she has been tasked with, or brainwashed, to try to kill Jimmy. Piper tries to delay the bomb that is on Trickster's wrist by using sound, and that's when the train that he's on stops off at the Mexican border. So he grabs Trickster's body, pulls him out of the train, and begins making his trek through the desert. But he very quickly collapses due to exhaustion and the fact that he's getting thirsty already. So yeah, things are getting much worse for Piper. Not only is he stuck with a dead body and a bomb, but now he's stuck in the middle of the desert with no water. It turns out Mary didn't kill Eclipso, she just knocked her out briefly with the Black Diamond. Eclipso wakes up, and Mary and Eclipso fight each other because Eclipso is trying to take the Black Diamond back. They have a massive fight, and the fight ends with Eclipso blasting Mary with a whole bunch of energy. She takes the Black Diamond from Mary after she's put Mary into some kind of frozen state and says, "Poor lost child, no friends, no family, and no one to call her own. No one to blame but yourself. Remember this moment, Mary, dearest. The moment you drove away, the only one left who cared. The moment you found yourself by your own hand, alone." She leaves, and Mary finally realizes that she is one of the dumbest characters ever who has made nothing but poor decisions throughout this entire story. She realizes that she's gone through a character assassination, and that she is now alone in the middle of space. How can she ever recover from this as a character without it all being swept under the rug or her being killed off? I just don't see there being any way to fix any of this. Pied Piper continues making his way through the desert with the corpse of the Trickster tied to him. Being in the desert for so long, he's starting to hallucinate. He begins hallucinating the Trickster talking to him as a zombie. Or he assumes it's a hallucination. As the reader, we're not 100% sure if he's hallucinating or if the Trickster is actually talking to him somehow. Bob, Donna, Jason, and Kyle head to Earth 51, which is a utopian kind of world where everything is peaceful and in harmony, and they believe that this is where Ray Palmer is because it is the one Earth that he would choose to go to because there's nothing bad happening there. Bob points out that the other monitors should have moved in on them by now, but they haven't, which is concerning. Because unlike the rest of the civilians on this Earth, the monitors can see through their disguise. So why aren't they coming? Back on Themyscira, we are reminded that Athena is currently Granny Goodness in disguise, and that she is behind the whole camp that Harley Quinn and Holly Robinson are a part of. They don't know that she's Athena. She's been Athena ever since the end of Amazon's attack. Athena was shown to be a bit off during that series, and by the end of it, it was revealed that she was actually Granny Goodness in disguise, and that Granny Goodness had all of the Greek gods held captive. She's notified that Holly Robinson and Harley Quinn have gone missing somehow, so she orders them to go searching for them, and also tortures the guard that gave her the information because this guard has failed their duties, which was to keep an eye on the two girls. Granny Goodness loves torture, so she's happy to deal it out. Meanwhile, Holly and Harley are inside this cave that they found. We saw a silhouette of a person living inside the cave, and it's revealed that that person is Hippolyta, the mother of Diana, aka Wonder Woman. At the end of Amazon's attack, all of the Amazonians, or the Themyscirans, were transported away somewhere. And I guess this is the reveal that Hippolyta somehow made it to this cave and has just been living inside it since. We don't really get any explanation as to what happened to her after Amazon's attack. Maybe it gets explained in the main Wonder Woman title, I don't know. She reveals to Holly and Harley that Granny Goodness is Athena, and in order to trick Granny into thinking that they're still on her side, Hippolyta suggests that they bring a piece of a guard dog with them to Granny Goodness and use it as their excuse as to why they went missing for a while. There's a guard dog outside, and so they fight the guard dog and they kill it. They take a piece back to Granny Goodness, and it works. They trick her into thinking that the two girls are still working with her, and she congratulates them, saying that Athena needs women with this kind of initiative in her army. At night, Pied Piper is berated by the corpse of the Trickster. The Trickster says that Pied Piper acts like some kind of Jesus in comparison to the rest of the rogues, when he too stood by and watched Bart Allen die. So why is he taking so long to do the thing that he needs to do with Trickster's body, which is to separate himself from it? Because this entire time he's been avoiding just cutting off Trickster's hand to set him free from the bomb that's connected to them, out of the goodness of his heart. But now Trickster's corpse has finally gotten to him, and he brings out a knife and goes to cut off Trickster's hand. And so his corpse is like, yes, good, like, you're finally doing it, you're finally getting the job done. Kind of makes you wonder if this is actually Pied Piper hallucinating, or if this is somebody manipulating him through the Trickster's body. Jimmy struggles against the Forager, who is under some kind of mind control and is trying to kill him. But then a weird sound goes off, which she says is the sound of a mother box, that snaps her out of her mind control. But Jimmy doesn't have a mother box on him, which confuses her a little bit. It's kind of shocking. And that's when a character called Bernadette comes in. And Bernadette is the sister of Darkseid, and she plans on torturing both Forager and Jimmy. But Jimmy shows that he has a lot more control over his powers now, so he activates his porcupine powers and fights back against Bernadette. But Bernadette goes to strike him, and he shoots what looks like omega beams out of his eyes. This allows Jimmy and Forager to make a getaway, but Forager notices that Jimmy's eyes are lighting up like a mother box, which is crazy. Only deepens the mystery of Jimmy's powers. They activate a boom tube and leave, and Bernadette comes face to face with a character referring to themselves as the Harbinger, and the Harbinger kills Bernadette off screen. So it's presumed that this Harbinger is the one going around killing the new gods. We don't know if this is the original Harbinger from Crisis on Infinite Earths, the one that worked for the Monitors, or if this is a new character going by the same name. Jimmy and Forager end up in Metropolis, where Forager says that she saw the source in his eyes. And Jimmy's like, I thought you saw a mother box. She's like, you have much to learn, don't you? Maybe I'm turning into a new god. No, something else, something unique. Is this why you hunted me down? Yes. So I'm just prey to you? Just something you can capture and exploit? You were, yes. And now? And then they start making out, because now's the perfect time to do that. You know, the universe is in peril. No, the multiverse is in peril. Jimmy's got something weird going on that's related to mother boxes and the source world, and yet now's the perfect time to just start macking in the middle of Metropolis. The next issue might be the best issue of Countdown so far. The bar is low, but I think that this is genuinely a pretty good issue. This issue dives completely into why Ray Palmer went missing, where he went, well, we know why he went missing, but where he went, and what he's been doing this entire time. We finally get everything revealed. It doesn't make it worth reading the entire series, but it is a good reveal, in my opinion. Ever since he abandoned his own Earth after Jean Loring, his wife, killed Sue Dibney, he ran away to a new Earth, which is Earth 51, and he's been living here with this Earth's version of Jean Loring. He started a whole new life to get away from his old one, and I think that's really interesting. I think it's a pretty good reveal. He's been having nightmares of the old Jean, and he's been talking to his wife as if these are just nightmares and not a real thing. So all of his friends on this Earth have no idea that he is from another Earth. Last time we saw Mary Marvel, she was left floating in the middle of space by Eclipso, who said that she would be alone forever. Not long after she left Mary floating in space, she immediately came back and tried to steal Mary's power, and Mary knew that she was going to come back, so she was pretending to be comatose. She wakes up and she fights Eclipso, who is Jean Loring, and a massive blowout happens between them in the middle of space, and Jean realizes that Mary is filled with so much anger that she is going to do anything to destroy her. She's finally realizing that maybe she pushed Mary a little bit too far. On Earth 51, it's revealed that Zatanna is the head of Arkham Asylum, which on this Earth is just a regular mental hospital, doesn't have super criminals in it or anything like that. It's just for mentally ill patients. Ray goes and speaks to her about the nightmares that he's been having, but that he's doing better and he's just trying to move on and have a good time with his wife, and they're gonna throw a Christmas party with some of their friends. Barry Allen's there with Iris, Ralph Dibny and Sue Dibny are there, like this Earth's versions of them. This Earth's version of Harley Quinn is pregnant. She just seems to have a very happy, normal life. And as Ray leaves, he gives Zatanna a gift, and it's a rabbit with a top hat, because she used to be a hero as well. But Ray was a member of this Earth's version of the Justice League not long after he moved here, and they stopped every single criminal, and then they all retired. The only one who didn't retire was Batman. They only mention Batman a couple of times in this. They say that he was one of the only superheroes that didn't retire, and something happened to him. They look back on it as if he died or something. We don't know what happened. Ray joins his friends for their Christmas party. He goes out to get some wood, and he sees one of the monitors watching him, so he knows that something is going to happen. His life here is going to be ruined soon. He goes back and joins the rest of them at the party and says something's bad is going to happen, and that's when Donna, Kyle, Jason, and Bob all show up, and everything is revealed to Ray's friends of this Earth, that he is not the real Ray. He reveals everything. He says that after what happened with his wife, he left his Earth and shrunk to atomic size, hoping that he could get away from it by just shrinking further and further. Eventually, he met a sorceress, and the sorceress told him about the multiverse. So he decided that he was going to travel through the multiverse and find the perfect Earth. But every Earth he came across was worse than his own, until eventually he found this one. When he first found it, there was a Ray Palmer living on this Earth already. This Ray Palmer was trying to figure out a way to travel to other Earths, but his machine malfunctioned and blew up in his face and he died. And so Ray replaced this version of himself. Seeing himself die also messed him up a bit, took him a bit to get over that. He also found out that this version of Ray Palmer on this Earth hadn't met his gene yet, so he got a second chance to start a new life with his wife. The Ray Palmer of Earth 51 was also researching this great disaster that everybody keeps talking about, that threatens the entire multiverse. They don't say specifically what it is, but apparently this Ray Palmer was researching it, and that just gave our Ray Palmer another reason to stay on this Earth, to continue his research. Bob then seems to take a turn for the worst when he reveals to Ray that he has come here to destroy him because Ray is an anomaly, which is something that Bob doesn't normally do. He's acting like the other monitors, when previously he was much nicer and he never told Kyle, Donna, or Jason that he was going to try and kill Ray. But I guess maybe he was lying to them, because that seems to be his goal now. Alright, the next issue, a lot goes on in this. It's very important. Keep in mind, the events that I am about to talk about take place at the exact same time. So, Mary Marvel is fighting Eclipso, and at the exact same time as she is fighting Eclipso, Bob the Monitor faces Kyle, Donna, Jason, and Ray Palmer on Earth 51. These events are both happening at the same time. So they're all fighting each other. Bob is trying to kill Ray, and he kills the Barry Allen of this Earth and blasts Kyle with a ton of energy because no one's going to stand in his way. He thought Donna would be more reasonable, but Donna's just like, reason with this. Tries to punch him. Ray wants to escape the Earth with this version of Jean so they can live their lives together on a different Earth. But Jean refuses to go along with him because he won't be 100% forward with her. Because he's like, I swear, it's not going to happen to you again. And she's like, what's gonna happen to me? What are you talking about? While fighting Eclipso, Eclipso tries to take back her power from Mary, but by connecting the dark gem, or the black diamond, to Mary's forehead, Mary learns of Jean Loring's secrets. So she finds out that Jean killed Sue. And this only pushes Mary even more to try and kill Jean because she's murdered somebody. And now she thinks she definitely deserves death. Bob faces Ray Palmer in preparation to kill him. Mary faces Eclipso in preparation to kill Jean Loring. Monitor and Mary both raise their hands in the air, charging their powers. The Jean Loring of Earth 51 stands in Ray's way, and Ray begs her to shrink down with him, like to grab onto him, because she can't shrink with him if she's not touching him. But she refuses. And so the Monitor shoots the Jean Loring of Earth 51 with energy, killing her, while Ray shrinks down in size, saving his life. And at the same time, Mary Marvel shoots Eclipso with a ton of Black Adam's magic, all of his magic at once. So Jean Loring of Earth 51 is burnt to a crisp, falls to the ground and dies, much to the horror of Ray Palmer, while Mary Marvel and Jean Loring both lose their powers and fall into the ocean below. But Jean Loring is no longer Eclipso and is possibly dead, we don't know yet. And Mary has given up the Black Adam powers entirely. She's lost her Black Adam powers. Bob again tries to kill Ray, but he's saved by Kyle, and Bob reveals that Kyle was never meant to be here. He was never a part of the plan, so him showing up really was as random as it seemed. Donna is saved by Jason, who throws a knife into the back of the Monitor's head, allowing them both to escape. And that's when the other Monitors all show up, and we get a whole bunch of revelations. So Bob, it's obvious at this point that Bob was working with his brothers the entire time. He led Kyle, Jason, and Donna on a wild goose chase to find Ray Palmer, so that he could then try and kill them, and the other Monitors would show up as well. But then, to the surprise of the rest of the Monitors, Solomon, who is the evil Monitor that started this entire thing when he killed Duella Dent in issue 1, or issue 51, he kills Bob the Monitor, to the shock of everyone. The reason he killed Bob the Monitor is because he thought that he would take all of Bob's essence and they would become one. Because it turns out that there was never a crisis. This crisis that they've all been talking about was fake. It was made up by Solomon to hide his real plan, which was to unify all of the Monitors into one being. So he was going to absorb them all and become the one Monitor, because he wanted to prove to them how bad the multiverse is. That there should be no multiverse, because individualism is a bad thing to him. It's like, ever since we became a massive group of Monitors, we've been really bad at our jobs. So I think it's better if we just fuse together and become one Monitor. And I'm the one that's in control. what Solomon didn't realize is that the time he had in order to fuse with all the other monitors has passed. So he can't do it anymore. They're all stuck as individuals. Mary Marvel washes up on the shores of Themyscira, finds herself face to face with some of the Themyscirans, so she's in a bit of a sticky situation now because she has no powers. And after all of Solomon's plan was revealed, that's when Monarch and his army of multiversal beings arrive, because Monarch was playing the monitors like a fiddle this entire time. He orchestrated the whole thing. He was waiting for them to all come to this Earth, Earth 51, which is a Earth of harmony, so that he can then ambush them and use this Earth as the battlefield for the War of the Multiverses. So that is about to begin. The War for the Multiverse starts now. It's the Monitors versus Monarch and his army. The Multiversal War on Earth 51 begins as Monarch's forces scour the Earth looking for Jason Todd, Donna Troy, Kyle Rayner, and Ray Palmer, as well as the monitors as well, any monitors that they can find so that they can destroy them, because Monarch had tricked Solomon into luring them all here, and once Monarch destroys this Earth, it'll open up the ability for him to take over the rest of the multiverse, because no monitors will be standing in his way anymore. Monarch gets up in Solomon's face and says like, you're feeling like crap right now, aren't you? Because your little miscalculation caused all of this. You've ruined the entire multiverse over selfishness, over the fact that you wanted to become the sole monitor of the multiverse. And Solomon is kind of in denial, but after meeting back with the other monitors, he gets teleported to their headquarters. Solomon believes that he is right in that they should have become a unified monitor. It's only solidified his beliefs. So he is going to try and find another way to see that his plans come to fruition, the unification. Meanwhile, the monitor that watches over Earth 51 decides that he needs to take part in this multiversal battle, because even though one of his brothers betrayed them, he still needs to help his Earth and try and save it. It is revealed that the Batman of Earth 51 is in fact alive, and he talks a little bit cryptically about how this Earth has taught him that you can't let your guard down even once and the loss can be intolerable. And as he mentions this, we see a shot of a part of a costume, but it doesn't look like a Robin costume, but it's assumed that this is the costume of this Batman's former sidekick or partner. Kyle and Ray have a little bit of a conversation together once they're in a safe place, and Ray states that the reason he thinks the monitors are trying to kill him is because he's not the Ray Palmer that's supposed to save the universe. It was the other Ray that was supposed to save the universe. So he's in the monitor's way, and that's why they're trying to kill him. When a couple of multiversal heroes or villains show up to try and kill Kyle and Ray. Jason and Donna get into a spot of trouble themselves when Donna has to face an evil version of her younger self, while Jason has to fight Gorgon, one of the villains from Earth 8. While left in a vulnerable state by Gorgon, he is saved by this Earth's version of Batman, who punches Gorgon off the building somehow, because he's Batman, I guess. But this Batman seems to be surprised when he sees Jason. It's like he recognizes him. While fighting the evil Donna, the two of them accidentally smash into a spaceship, which allows the good Donna to escape. The evil Donna gets upset and goes searching for her because she wants to kill her counterpart. It's revealed that this evil Donna is being commanded by Belthera, the queen of that other realm that Donna, Kyle, and Jason went to. While he is thinking about what he should do next, Solomon is approached by Superman Prime. Superman Prime tells him that he will make his life infinitely worse unless he helps him find what he's looking for, which is his home. Meanwhile, in Metropolis, Jimmy and Forager have a very serious conversation about Jimmy's powers, but it's completely undercut by the fact that Forager has just gotten out of the shower and she is naked in the scene, but is mainly covered by her arm and steam coming out of the shower. It just makes it so that you can't take this conversation seriously at all when she's like this. She states that when her and Jimmy kissed earlier, she felt the strange powers within Jimmy and said that they are the spirit energy of the gods, and that Jimmy is what she refers to as a soul catcher. It hasn't been revealed yet, but I'm gonna make the assumption that the souls of all the gods that have been killed have been going into Jimmy the entire time. That's where they are. They're inside him. And that's what's giving him all of these powers. It's also why he has this weird connection to the source wall, because that's usually where all of the souls go. So it's almost like he's become the source wall. Batman of Earth 51 brings Jason to his bunker, where it's revealed that this Batman killed all of his villains and uses guns and stuff. And the Justice League turned their backs on him because of it. And now, Jason Todd has shown up, and according to this Batman, his Jason is dead. So he is suspicious of our Jason. You're making it so very hard for me not to pull this trigger. Jason Todd died in my arms years ago. Whoever you really are, you got about 10 seconds to confess. I like how in this shot, the gun he's holding looks like a gun with a weird attachment to the end of it, but then in this shot, it just straight up looks like he's holding a blaster instead of a gun. I also like how this Batman's costume has armor plating, but he still made sure to keep the undies. Mary Marvel meets Hippolyta, who reveals to her that Athena is actually Granny Goodness in disguise, and she offers Mary to help them take down Granny Goodness. Kyle distracts the multiversal villains so that Ray can get to safety. He takes them down and regroups with Ray, where they decide that they need to plan a counterattack against Monarch's forces. Monarch successfully takes out all the governments of this Earth, but isn't ready to make a move on it yet because he needs to make sure that the Monitors are out of the way first. And once they're out of the way, nothing will be able to stop him. Superman Prime tries to convince Solomon to join his cause and help him find his Earth, but Solomon won't say anything to him, and Superman Prime comes to the conclusion that Solomon wants to die, so he's waiting for Superman Prime to kill him. And Superman Prime is like, well, I'll kill you, but only if you find my Earth for me. And that's when Forager interrupts their argument. I think this is supposed to be the moment that happened in Forager's story in Countdown to Adventure, where during that, she teamed up with a group of pirates after Monarch got rid of her, right? And one of those pirates had a lightsaber weapon, and she gave it to Forerunner so that she could go and slay one of the Monitors, because she saw a Monitor satellite nearby with a Monitor in it. She went there, she fought the Monitor, and eventually the Monitor got rid of her by teleporting her away. So that's all in line. The thing that doesn't make any sense, and goes completely against the continuity of that story, is Superman Prime was not there at all. When Forerunner showed up to fight the Monitor, it was just her and the Monitor, and that was it. So, I guess that whole miniseries really is non-canon. And they just couldn't figure out the continuity of this series and its miniseries. You could tell that they just weren't, there's no editor controlling everything, making sure everything lined up. Because it's all just a mess. Jason and Earth 51 Batman talk to one another, where this Batman reveals to Jason his entire history. So when Jason on this Earth died, Batman killed the Joker and then started a war against the other rogues, wanting to kill all of them, and that's why the Justice League turned their backs on him. Batman suggests that they wait until Monarch's first strike is over and then they will counter, but Jason doesn't want to wait and let his friends die, and so Batman tells him to be stupid and go out and die. Go on, Jason. You're dead anyway. May as well make it official. We're both dead, Batman. Any fool could see you've been dead inside for years. Ooh, and Bruce did not like hearing that. Donna Troy watches the war going down below, and that's when the evil version of her shows up again. They both fight each other across the city, and Donna punches her evil self out and says probably one of the best lines in this series. Because her evil self says, "It took Belphera to show me what I could become. I know who I am now. Who the hell are you?" "I'm Donna Troy, bitch. Donna Troy." It's pretty dumb, but I kinda love it. Kyle asks Ray why the Monitors were trying to kill him. And Ray says, "It's probably because of the work that I've been doing on Earth 51. I've been doing something I'm not supposed to. I've been changing the history of other Earths. Because when I came to Earth 51, my version of Ray, or this version of me, had found some kind of virus called the Morticoccus. On this Earth, we were able to detain the virus and stop it from spreading. But not long after this Earth's version of the Justice League met the Crime Society from another Earth and found out that the multiverse exists. And so this Earth's version of Ray Palmer believed that if the Morticoccus existed on this Earth, maybe it existed on other Earths as well, and there was a chance that those Earths might get infected and people might die. So he came up with a solution to help cure other Earths, but unfortunately he died when he tried to travel to the other Earths, and so our Ray Palmer took over and continued his job. And so that's why there were atom symbols on people's wrists, because that was the symbol of the inoculation. He was going around giving people inoculations against the virus and leaving his symbol. And he said, because I got too big-headed and added my own symbol, the Monitors were able to track me down to where I was. Meanwhile, in Bloodhaven, remember how Brother Eye took over Bloodhaven and became it? I forgot about it. I'm sure you did too, because it happened like 10 issues ago. But we're finally picking up this storyline again. Brother Eye has taken over Bloodhaven and is using Firestorm as a power source, and Karate Kid comes to the conclusion that because Darkseid came here, he might have left behind some technology, some New God technology. That technology might be a boom tube, and that maybe Brother Eye has access to boom tube technology now and is eyeing something bigger than Earth to take over. Maybe Brother Eye is going to try to take over Apocalypse. Or even more than that, because the boom tube will give Brother Eye the ability to go wherever it wants. Superman Prime attacks the Forerunner but is stopped by Solomon, who says that if he unhands the Forerunner, he will show him the Earth that he's looking for. And he tells Superman Prime that the Earth being attacked by Monarch is the Earth he was looking for, the perfect one. So he's like, no! They're ruining it! And so Superman Prime smashes out of the Monitor's base and heads straight for Earth 51 in order to save it. Forerunner then stays behind to fight this Monitor, and we know how that plays out. If you check out the Countdown to Adventure series, it ends with her being teleported away by him. Kyle and Ray begin searching for Jason and Donna. Donna comes face to face again with Belthera because she's disguised herself as the evil younger version of herself. So she meets with Belthera, punches her in the face. "No, you coward. No more hiding behind your soldiers. It's time you paid for your crimes. Hiding? How dare you? Oh, I dare. You've killed more people today than I can count, all from a distance without getting your hands dirty. Well, I have no problem getting hands-on." Belthera attempts to mock Donna, saying that she knew Donna was a killer the entire time. She's showing her true colors, and it looks like Donna is going to snap Belthera's head, much like Diana snapped the neck of Maxwell Lord, but instead, she just punches Belthera to the ground and knocks her out. And because she's beaten Belthera in combat, Belthera's Myrmidons, which are her bug people, all bow to Donna, and Donna has now become the queen of these aliens. And that's when Kyle and Ray show up. Like, oh, nice outfit. Earth 51 Batman admires Jason for standing up to him and says, "You know what? I like that fire that you got. Let's go and save your friends and take down Monarch. But what you should do is wear this costume. It's the costume that my Jason never got to wear. I want you to have it because I want us to fight side by side like he and I used to." Jason agrees to put the costume on, and he becomes Red Robin, because apparently that is what the Jason of this Earth was supposed to be. Red Robin was a character from Kingdom Come. That's what Dick Grayson was on that Earth. So it seems like this Earth's Jason was to be Red Robin as well. And on the main Earth, Tim Drake would eventually become Red Robin. Red Robin and Batman jump into battle, facing against Superwoman and an evil Supergirl whose name I don't know. Jason grabs a knife, or I think it's supposed to be a batarang. It's hard to see. He stabs Superwoman in the eyes with it. Or he doesn't stab her in the eyes, he stabs her behind the eyes. We don't get to see what he does, but it's assumed that he dug the batarangs behind her eyes and pulled her eyes out, so they're now dangling. Because he can't break the eyes because they're invulnerable, but he can still pull them out of their sockets. He then says one of the coldest lines Jason has ever said in a comic book. "Those baby blues may be invulnerable, but they can still be yanked from their sockets." Batman realizes that they may be outnumbered when they see more of Monarch's forces coming, but then suddenly an explosion erupts, and Donna Troy arrives with her army of Myrmidons. Monarch watches these events transpire, but then suddenly one of his underlings says that something is coming directly towards him. That's when something crashes into his ship, and it turns out that it's Superman Prime. He's arrived to get his revenge against Monarch for destroying the perfect Earth. "What have you done?" Where there is life, there is hope. Only a human could believe such nonsense. A monitor sees only the truth, and I am forced to acknowledge that for the 6 billion souls below, the situation looks truly hopeless. And yet my brethren fight on, trying to forestall the inevitable. Brave allies from neighboring universes rally to our cause, but it's all for naught, because the beast has come. It's all over for my beautiful Earth, best and brightest of the 52. It's all over but the shouting. "I'll kill you! I'll kill you to death!" One of the most infamous lines Superboy Prime has ever said. This page is infamous. People often point this out as one of the stupidest things that this character has ever done. It's proof that at this point he is a parody of himself. Superman Prime is fighting Monarch. Two powerful beings smashing each other across the city. Monarch uses a whole ton of energy. He creates a massive explosion while Superman Prime is on top of him. An explosion that Donna Troy and Ray Palmer see from a distance. Kyle manages to shield them from the explosion, but pretty much everything within that vicinity is destroyed by Monarch. Monarch believes that he's won, that he's killed Superman Prime, but Superman Prime turns out to be alive still. That hurt! That really, really hurt! Kyle, Donna, and Ray reunite with Jason and Earth 51 Batman, where a mysterious magical hand writes on a nearby wall, "To Apocalypse." And they don't really understand what this message means, but it's probably telling them to go to Apocalypse. Solomon defeats Forerunner and is going to kill her, but then Darkseid shows up and is like, "Hey, leave Forerunner be. It's time for us to continue our plan," because apparently the two of them have been working together. It's only revealed at this moment. There has been no foreshadowing that Solomon has been working with Darkseid. Earth 51 Batman sees some criminals, one of them being the Joker, and this forces him to try and take them down, so he fights against them, and Donna tells Jason to come with them, but Jason is like, "No, I know where I should be," and so he jumps down to where Batman is, fights alongside him, but Ultraman shows up, and Jason tries to warn Batman, but Ultraman punches through the back of Earth 51 Batman's head, killing him. It's pretty brutal. Much to Jason's horror. Kyle saves Jason from Ultraman by grabbing him by the head and throwing him away, and he tells Jason to come with him, but Jason's like, "Oh, just give me a second, please." So he mourns Earth 51 Batman, and at the same time, the Joker makes fun of Batman's death, and so Jason reunites with Donna and Kyle. Kyle's like, "You okay?" Jason's like, "Yeah, never better." And that's when the Monitor of this Earth sends Donna, Ray, Kyle, and Jason away to safety while he remains there. And it's revealed that Jason killed the Joker, and that's why he was feeling better. He grabbed a nearby rock and crushed his head with it. Superman Prime and Monarch continue their fight, where Monarch tells Superman Prime that he's running out of Guardian energy and reverting back to his teenage form, so he won't be powerful enough to take him out. But Superman Prime is like, shut up, I'm not a boy, I'm a man, I'm Superman! And he rips open Monarch's chest, releasing Monarch's nuclear energy. Everyone senses it. The last millisecond of their lives. My brethren flee this universe in less than the blink of an eye, but I remain to monitor the end. Earth 51 blows up. The quantum energy spilling from Monarch is an unparalleled destructive force, a chain reaction that does not stop with a city, nor a continent, nor a planet. It is a wave of hatred and horror sprung from a mindless act of rage, and it wipes away everything that gave me meaning. It is the cruelest irony that in this universe, I alone survive. The better to savor my failure, I suppose. Alone forever, my only companions the wind and ash, and... was it spared by my personal shields? Was it a miracle? I know not, but the sight of it stirs in me something I thought I'd lost. An emotion, a concept that should have died with everything else, and yet I know at once why it persists. Because where there is life, there is hope. So a beautiful ending to an otherwise ridiculous issue that started in one of the worst ways possible, with that stupid line, "I'll kill you to death," but then ends with this. Makes you think that the ending was probably not written by the same person. It says that Tony Bedard and Keith Giffen were story consultants on this issue, so I like to believe that they were probably the ones that were behind this part of the story, and Paul Dini wrote all of that other stuff. And so with that, we have come to the end of part 3 of Countdown. So now Monarch has been defeated, Superman Prime is gone for now, and all that's left is Darkseid and Solomon. So they are going to be continuing their plan, and we'll see how that unravels in the final part of Countdown next week. I hope you enjoyed this week's episode, and I'll see you then. Have a good one.